because your thoughts are very inspiring, and of course, the situation that you imagine would happen in the schools. For example, when some group, and I just raised this question for you to think. Maybe today we don't have time to discuss these questions, but you need to take these questions, keep them in your mind, because I don't know your future students' level are, but you just have those questions that would help you. For example, one group just asked, how about the slow learners in the group? When they do complete these graphic organizers, then if you're a teacher, when you design the graphic organizer, you have to think about this situation. How do you deal with the group, which the group have different levels, but in the same group? You give them the same version, or you give them different version of graphic organizers. Okay? Because differentiated instruction, the spirit of that is to give students choices. Students can have their will to choose. But at the same time, you also want to train their English ability. You cannot choose because the more choices they have, the more complicated your situations are. So you have to think how to balance that situation. You give them the same version, or you give them different versions on the same table. And how about advanced learners? If you give them only one version, but advanced learners, they can quickly do that job and they will feel bored. But you still want them to maximize their learning, so what can you do? And when you design these three versions, how about the time students will take? Because different levels of students, the time to complete the graphic organizer will not be the same. So when you design the versions, you also have to consider the time, how much time they might take. And if accidentally the advanced learner finish that graphic organizer, what else can you give them? What other activities will you offer them? And we call that anchor activities. So you need to prepare some anchor activities for maybe not advanced learners, and then for those who are quickly finish that job, you need to offer that. But these activities still serve the same purpose, to enhance the awareness of the text structure. Because this time, the purpose for you to design is just focus on the text structure. So how about the anchor activities to deepen those quick learners' thoughts about that structures? So there are so many things you have to think about when you design the lesson plan, okay? And I like some of you offer some options on the worksheet for students. That's a good idea, because we just want students learn English at the same time to encourage they use their creation. So you can use something like word bank or some options for them to choose. So maybe later after today's lecture, I think you may share each other what you learned today, because Professor and I just go around, we hear all of you, but you do not hear the other two groups. So I encourage you and I invite you to exchange your learning today after today's lecture. And at the same time, when I go around the tables, I heard some teachers say this. In the group, how do I do with the students? For example, can you see here? A means advanced learner, I means intermediate, B means basic learner. If I do the group learning, this is our homogeneous grouping, and this is heterogeneous grouping. When I just use those graphic organizers, in this grouping and in these groupings, the strategies are not the same. but you all have to figure out what would happen before you enter the classroom. You cannot just do things very casually, that would be a mess. So you need to decide which grouping you will use in that period. But for my experience, I would suggest flexible grouping. Do not use heterogeneous grouping all the time. And do not use homogeneous grouping all the time. Different grouping strategies serve different functions for students to learn. They will learn many great, excellent strategies with different levels of students, but they also need to learn the strategies, especially learn from those who have the similar problems, learning problems, like for example, basic students. Actually, according to our experiences, basic students will learn the survival strategies to learn English, especially from the second level students. And they can figure out the way for them to finish the job that teacher wants them to do. So when you, in your classroom, do the flexible grouping. And I think in this way, your students will feel your class is very interesting, because your class will be very boring, because you always give them different kind of challenges for them. And that's my suggestion about the reading graphic organizer. And now we just take a 5-minute short break, okay? Thank you.